Mike Sports Podcast Show. This is your host Mike, back on the mic. We're loving you is all we do when it comes to sports. Get started in a few. Again, welcome to the Mike Sports Podcast Show. I'm your host Mike. It's good to be back on the mic. It's been a while. I've been doing a lot of things. Been busy, and it's good to be back on. Good to finally settle in and get back to this hobby of mine. I call it a hobby. Um, Talking sports. Shout outs for this podcast. Shout out to Bam, 83 points. Mm, bam, 83. Um, I still kind of I still hold Kobe's superior, but you gotta congratulate the guy for scoring 83 points. 40 some free throws is crazy, but hey, he did it. So can't really hate on him. Jason Tatum is back. Mark Madness is here. The WNBA, they got a new agreement. Shout outs to all of them. Boston is dangerous now that Jason Tatum is back. We've had some crazy games. March Madness already as per usual. This is the greatest time of the year for college basketball. And then we got the WNBA, which to my surprise came up to an agreement, and not only agreement, a great agreement, a very historical agreement. I did not think that the WNBA would be back and come to an agreement with the current commissioner. But for them to get their deal with their salary cap starting at 7 million, which is up from 1.5 million. Then they get the supermax for 1.4 million. Then you have they raise the of average salary in the range of 600,000 with a minimum around 300,000. And then the big one is the average revenue share, almost 20%. And the extra benefits with housing, retirement, the facilities, and family planning. So the WNBA is winning and they're back on track to start, which is great for women's sports. It's great for the advancement of women in basketball. And it's going to be fun to see as their season approaches. The three hot topics today is the NBA, what our Memphis Tigers are doing, and what the Memphis Grizzlies are doing. So let's hop right into it. Those three topics. I'm gonna get right into it. The NBA is popping right now. We are prime. We're getting ready for the NBA playoffs. One thing that I have noticed that since All Star break is that the scores have increased. They've actually and they've kind of fluctuated from month to month, but it seemed like February, right um after All Star break, the NBA scores just were astronomical. I mean, Denver one game scored 157 points. Milwaukee scored 139 points one game. Washington scored 131 points. Orlando and host of many others scoring in the high 120s. Now, since March, one thing I've noticed is that, of course, we're getting ready for playoff. basketball. And so there's some increased physicality. We've been seeing a lot of skirmishes between player and between the players and the defensive intensity is starting to ramp up. And one thing that I think as the NBA playoffs approach is we're going to see a change or are beginning to see a change in how games are called. Everyone complains about SGA and his push off. He's not the only one to push off though. If we really being real, SGA gets he's the poster child of flopping and um, baiting, foul baiting. But there are other players. Luca does it. James Harden does it. We can come up with a list of at least good 10 players that foul bait and flop and do all kinds of things. But we're seeing a lot of increased defensive physicality. Pretty much every national televised game is critical. Is an important game as it relates to standings, playoffs for the playoffs. Um, and we've had some great games, some really, really, really good games. Um, Initially, in preparation for this podcast, some of my disappointments were teams that were disappointments that were projected to be higher in the standings right now, in my opinion. At least I thought, where Atlanta and Orlando. Um, but I think right now they're kind of studying the ship, and the Knicks. They're kind of studying the ship a little bit. Detroit, they were really, really rolling, and then Cade has a collapsed lung, so we hope he has a full recovery. With that, I am concerned about Detroit because they really don't have a consistent outside scorer besides Cade. So maybe within this time, maybe this is a blessing in disguise because Detroit will be without Cade for at least 2 to 3 weeks, and he should be ready by start of the playoffs. So hopefully, within that time, they find that secondary scorer, secondary threat, outside of big man Duran, um, to kind of guide the ship and keep Detroit afloat. Uh, Boston, as I stated earlier, Jason Tatum, man, the dude looked good, y'all. I mean, not only did he come back, but he's not taking like any days off. He's coming back from injury, of course, obviously on a minutes restriction, but he's playing like back to back games. And I mean, that's really just a testament to his hard work and the conditioning and rehab because that's extremely tough to do. But they look extremely dangerous and they could be in the finals potentially. I mean, it's really a toss up, but Boston, with all their role players, everybody buying in to their role. Coach Mike Mazzulla, an amazing coach, a great coach, gets to his players, and Boston looks really good. Um, Another thing about Jalen Brown, because everyone likes to separate Jalen and Tatum, as far as whose team it is and everything. I don't think this team is gonna break up. It's gonna break up with both of them on the same team with each other. But Jalen Brown has really impressed me. There was one game where he was ejected, and one of the things we've been hearing about is ethical basketball. That term has come up a lot when Jalen Brown speaks, and fairness, fairness of calls, and stuff like that. And for a minute, I thought, Jalen Brown, not only is he a legit MVP candidate, but he could be the face of the league that nobody's talking about. And it's an unpopular opinion for Jalen Brown to be the face of the league because he doesn't advertise, um, or he may not be considered an adver- advertised asset, but he does a great job explaining the game, very transparent, talking about what's going on in the court. And I mean, obviously, one of the highest paid players in the league, gives back to his community, does all the right things. And he could, potentially be the face of the league. I have a lot of thoughts about that term, face of the league. I don't know if it's a term that we should even use anymore or practice. I think all it really does is just cause debate. And in reality, we really should just love the game of basketball and the players that play it. But that's just my thoughts. So shout out to Jalen Brown. We throw him in that category of the shout outs. The Lakers, the Lakers are streaking. I don't know if you can consider them a wild card, but because the Lakers are who they are and because of the brand, they get a lot of criticism for a loss. They get a lot of attention for a loss. Turn on TV, they lose. You hear Kendrick Perkins, you hear all these media faces, personalities getting on JJ Redick and his defense and everything. We know Luca is not a great defender, but his offense makes up for his defense. And as long as you have Luca on the floor with the Lakers, you have a chance to win. And it's kind of rubbing off on his teammates because Austin Reeves is balling out too. LeBron is LeBron, ultimate leader. I mean, his example on the court, off the court, his preparation for the games at his age, still breaking records. He's pretty much a walking record book, and it's pretty cool. And I think we should take advantage of the fact that we're watching a living legend playing high quality basketball. And for a minute at the start of the season, I thought like, man, why is LeBron really playing? Like what what is he getting out of this? It's pretty much stat padding. But the Lakers, I believe they do have a legit chance to make it to the Western Conference Finals. It's gonna be tough, but they got a shot. But in the way they're playing, I mean, who can argue? They're getting it done. JJ's doing a great job coaching, um, and the team is playing well. Houston, gotta talk about Houston. Um, everyone, they go on to lose. They lose to the Lakers twice, and then all of a sudden, somebody wants to bring up uh, Kevin Durant's leadership qualities. All of a sudden, and I do think the Houston Rockets are in trouble because they didn't address the point guard. They didn't address the point guard position when Van Fleet got hurt. They didn't address it during the trade deadline, and I thought that was a big mistake because even though you got Reed there, and he's more of a shooter, he's not a distributor. And my man Thompson, as great as he is, as good as he is defensively, his offense has kind of regressed, and the offense is Kevin Durant and Sengun. but sometimes Sangoon disappears, of course. And then some and Sangoon, he's not a great defender. So Houston, just considering at the very beginning of the year, a lot of people had Houston as a lock almost to be in the Western Conference Finals. Now we're not sure they're going to be in the second round or make it to the Western Conference Finals. So it'll be interesting to see. Of course, Denver, um, OKC, and the Spurs, they look prime ready uh, to be in that conversation for Western Conference playoffs for the finals. And they've had some great matchups these past couple of weeks, just going and playing against each other. Um, Wemby, he's shooting for Defensive Player of the Year and MVP, and is ramping his game up. And it's great when you're able to see a difference from the beginning of the year to this point of the year because Wemby has definitely improved. And when the Spurs are rolling, I mean, it starts with their defense. And when Wemby's in the middle, in the middle of the court, in the paint, blocking everything, initiating the offense, and Castle doing what he does, and the role players playing their role, and De'Aaron Fox, one of the quickest guards in the NBA, is scoring the way he is. Okay, the Spurs are going to be tough to stop, and a lot of people, look at their experience or lack of experience as a weakness in the playoffs. But I think a team that is coming in with nothing to lose, that's the most dangerous team. OKC's, I mean, they're extremely deep, and getting McCain just makes them a whole lot better. They're extremely deep. So for them to be where they are and not even be fully healthy this season, that just is a credit to their organization, um, establishing a winning culture now in OKC. As far as MVP goes, that's really a tough call. Um, I think it's really ultimately going to come down to Wemby, Jalen Brown, and SGA. And I mean, that's tough. You got to go to the matchups, I think, and see who we know won what in their matchup in their games, in the critical games, um, from All Star break all the way up to this point to determine who the MVP is going to be. As far as Eastern Conference goes, it's really wide open, I think. But the Cavs, with the addition of Harden and Donovan Mitchell, and the two bigs, Mobley and Allen, that's going to be that there. The Cavs can't sleep on them. Although I was a little curious as far as Harden injuring his hand, how he's going to do. Seems to be fine, but the Cavs are going to be a really good team. Pistons, they're going to miss Cade, but they're going to be in the conversation. Boston, adding Tatum, New York, doing what they do. They're having an up and down season. And the crazy thing, and this is just unfortunately, we have Stephen A. who is a narrative trendsetter. We have to listen to him talk. That despite the wins that New York has, we have to listen to him pout, mope, and and complain about the play of the Knicks, despite them winning games. So I think the Knicks will be fine. They'll figure it out, whatever it is, if there is a problem. the money's going to have to justify the means when it comes to them as far as the playoff, just because of their payroll. So that wraps it up for the NBA hot topic number one. Number two, the Tigers. I thought that it was great that Ed Scott did the interview with Gary Parrish. Go check that out if you haven't. And the joint press conference with Penny Hardaway, I thought that was great as well. And just the transparency, I'm optimistic, more optimistic about the season going forward. Just listening to the coach, listening to Ed Scott, who's as real as it gets. I mean, he was answering, he wasn't dodging questions, and both are being very transparent. They're being accountable, and they're setting uh, reasonable expectations for the Memphis Tigers going forward. Who had a failure of a season, a failure of the season. It really was, and the team just did not gel together. Plain and simple. I do believe this team, as originally constructed, based off if we were just looking off just highlights, they did appear to be probably one of the most talented teams that Penny was able to put together, but it just never translated on the court. So now we have Thedford and we also have Warford. I believe I've said his name. Yeah, Warford, who are committing to come back, and I expect more. Hopefully, to make their commitment to return because retention has been a problem in Memphis for Penny Hardaway when it comes to coaches and players. But with the assistant coaches out, with a new GM possibly coming in, hopefully within this week, this weekend, we'll hear something as far as coaching hires because they said they're trying to do this quickly. Time is of the essence. They have a sense of urgency. So hopefully we'll hear something as far as coaches and GM pretty soon, as well as commitment of the players. I think they should go full, Memphis, maybe a full Memphis staff. There's rumors that Matlock could be coming back. We'll see how that goes, or if that happens. We'll see who this GM would be. I would like to know a list of candidates, and I believe I spoke to this maybe on the last podcast or a couple of podcasts before about the role of a GM in college basketball. So it's great that Penny acknowledges the fact that he needs help, and I think it's gonna bode well for the Tigers. He also talked about the media, which I agree with. With what he's saying. I mean, he can only speak his truth from the way he sees it. But the Memphis media, even though they're doing their job, they do make it seem impossible for Pennies to succeed. I mean, granted, he hasn't consistently, of course, he has not consistently made it to NCAA tournaments. But if we really just look at the tournament this year, there's a lot of coaches that are surprisingly uh, on the hot seat, and next year is in question because of um, because they didn't advance in the second round or advance in the playoffs in the tournament. We look at Hubert Davis in North Carolina. I mean, his job is in jeopardy. Really, I think continuity in college basketball has been tarnished by the transfer portal and NIL. Uh, but anyway, uh, we move forward. Number three, hot topic: the Memphis Grizzlies. Uh, Memphis Grizzlies, they've been catching a lot of strays First, it was about safety. Then it was about hotels. Then it was about, no sauna, no amenities in hotels, no hot tubs, no cold tubs. Service is subpar. Then Marcus Smart taking jabs at the fans and his perception surrounding his time in Memphis. When we signed when we signed Smart, I thought that he would be great next to Jaren, and we could use him. But he just seemed like he did not want to be here. And he can deny that, but it honestly looked like from just his body language that he did not want to be here. He talked about his injury with his hand, but I'm also looking at, you have Giannis who is hurt, but he's begging to get back on the court. You have, and so, I mean, Marcus Smart with his hand. Um, who else? There's another player. I mean, John Morant, with his shoulder. I don't think it's because John Morant can't play. I think, I wish he could play, but I mean, if you weren't able to trade him, you would have thought you've been able to see or an opportunity for him to show his trade value during this time, but he's not playing. Yet we see Jason Tatum playing and giving it his all. Then there was a talk about Nashville and moving the team to Nashville, which I don't believe is happening. It's not going to happen. Just left Nashville last weekend. The city is very nice city. But I, Nashville to me, just it being there several times, is not a basketball city. But we are a basketball city. Memphis is a basketball city. Nashville could be great for baseball. It's definitely a hockey city, hockey town. They have an NFL with the Tennessee Titans, even though their attendance is low. But Memphis is basketball. Memphis, the uh, the trajectory for their baseball program, the Redbirds, is good. Soccer, good. And then with Huff in Memphis, Memphis is like it's going to become the ultimate sports town. Knoxville, all college football, graded baseball. So let's just keep that for the way it is. Grizzlies, they're obviously tanking. Um, and a lot of people are falling in love with Acuff from Arkansas. And why wouldn't you? I mean, he's a player coached by Calipari, who's developed the likes of SGA, Tyrese Maxey, John Wall, De'Aaron Fox, Derrick Rose, Jamal Murray, Devin Booker, and a host of other role players who are balling out and have been playing great for their respective teams in the NBA. So I don't, with this draft class, it's going to be really hard to say or project where Memphis is going to be because I mean it could be anybody. We're right now slated in the eighth spot, and I don't think we're going to go improve anymore. The players that I like though out of this class, which is really extremely deep, is AJ DeBoston, of course, Caleb Wilson, and Acuff. Those are the three I like, and I think ultimately the Grizz will trade up to get whatever player they want, and I'm pretty sure Ja is going to be in the trade proposal or in the equation to get that to get that pick or that top pick wherever it is. So we'll see how the NBA lottery shakes out. Another hot topic NBA expansion. It's very exciting. Adding two teams to the league. A lot of people or some players have been outspoken in their support, and then you have some that are doubting if there's enough players to go around. And in my opinion, expansion, whether it's WNBA, NBA, is great for the sport of basketball. There are so many players out there that are just looking for an opportunity. Um, but the current expansion draft, and this is all subject to change, but expansion teams, they get to steal unprotected players from teams. Teams can protect 8 of their players. Teams can't protect players on expiring contracts or restricted free agents. Only one player taken per team. Contracts transfer as they are. Expansion teams get good NBA draft chances at the number one pick. So that is what's currently in place. And of course, Seattle and Las Vegas are the two locations, which means there's potential for Memphis to be in the Eastern Conference, make a move, or New Orleans and Minnesota. I would love for Memphis to be in the Eastern Conference. I just think that a move to the Eastern Conference will increase and improve their odds of making to the Eastern Conference Finals or making the Finals appearance. And then, but it wouldn't surprise me if Minnesota ended up taking that spot. But I mean, NBA expansion in the year 28-29 season. That's going to be fun. That's going to be interesting. Who knows who the draft prospects are going to be around that time, and what an expansion draft would actually look like, and how would it shake up the NBA. Um, so those are my hot topics for this podcast. To the NCAA tournament, the Blue Bloods are out, and I may touch on this on the next podcast also. But Duke pretty much is the only blue blood left, considered a blue blood. Um, I think the term blue blood is really overrated. I wish we would just do away with it because it's, the only reason why we're talking about them because the teams are blue and they've been historically great over the years. But Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, typical blue bloods, they are out. We got Duke versus St. John. I think Duke is going to win that game, although it's gonna be close. I think, and St. John is a very physical team. They're gonna try to mark it up. You got our Arizona and Arkansas. Uh, I'm rooting for Arkansas. I think I have Arkansas in my Final Four, and but Arizona is a very respectable opponent, and a tough opponent at that. Then you have Texas and Purdue. A lot of teams are sleeping on Purdue, I think. But I think Purdue wins it. I mean, Purdue at the very beginning of the year, they were number one, and they historically under the radar have been really good in the NCAA tournament. I mean, Matt Painter has done an awesome job with that program. And I mean, let me backtrack when it comes to college basketball and the Memphis Tigers, who are searching for that NCAA appearance next year. Memphis, they consider themselves a blue blood, but truthfully, we are not. Memphis is not a blue blood program. I would say it needs to be greater. It needs to be better than that standard. Memphis needs to model after VCU. It needs to model after. I mean, look at what Nebraska did. Look at what VCU has done. Look at what Houston has done. Those are the programs they need to master. I'm gonna shout out VCU, which if you didn't know, I'm from Richmond, Virginia. VCU was my backyard. VCU year after year they've had different coaches, and they have been consistently one of the toughest teams in college basketball to play, whether they're at home or away. They have established a culture of tough defense, toughness in general, and just overall team play. And so shout out to VCU and their consistency. But that's what Memphis needs. I'm wondering, and that's why the assistant coaches that Memphis gets going forward, it'll be interesting to see who is on his staff. Um, Penny said something about when they were playing Purdue and Matt Painter wasn't drawing up a play. It was his assistants. They were pretty much drawing up the plays and appearing, I guess, as the main coaches coaching, and Painter was just the lead, I guess you could say. That's what Penny needs in Memphis. And I think that's what the help that he's going to get going forward. Um, but Purdue, they are playing Texas, and I believe Purdue is going to win that game. Texas is having a great season. Memphis Tigers will be playing Texas in the coming years. So that's something for Memphis to look forward to because Texas, they're coming up. They're coming up and they're playing really well. Then you got Michigan State and UConn. Izzo versus Hurley. Man, that's gonna be a good one. Um, that's gonna be a really good one. That's a 50-50 right there. But I do think the UConn is gonna pull that one out. Then in that bracket, I do have Duke coming out in that bracket in the Final Four. Let's see who else. Then we got Iowa and Nebraska. Shocked that Florida lost. Um, but Nebraska, we didn't know anything about Nebraska, but in their team building and through the years and their NIL support and just playing being in a tough conference, they're the number 4 seed and they are legit. They are a really good team. So this is going to be a real good one. This is one that's a toss up as well. And I think Nebraska's going to do it. I think Nebraska's going to win. Um, and go on to face Houston, who I also have in my Final Four. They play New Illinois. That's going to be a great matchup when it comes to guards. Um, they have Kingston, a freshman, and who's that guard from Illinois? Keaton Wagler, right? Keaton Wagler and Kinston Fleming from Houston. Two of their point guards. That's going to be a great matchup. Don't want to miss that game. Then you got Tennessee and Iowa State. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a physical matchup. I'm gonna give the edge in Tennessee. Well, y'all know I mean Tennessee's okay. They're cool, but I think Iowa State's going to win that game. Uh, I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee wins, but I'm picking Iowa State to win that game. So we've got some great college college basketball matchups, and we had a great first weekend. The WNBA. I should call them WNBA because it's getting real in women's college basketball in their bracket as they're playing their games right now. Those are going to be fun games to watch going forward. So that wraps up this podcast for me. Next podcast is going to be again all strictly basketball and college basketball and some whatever is going on with the Memphis Tigers as far as their coaching, any news that may come out of that. So see you next time. Peace and blessings to you. Be careful out there if you're in Memphis, anywhere. Um, Continue to pray for, you know, everything that's going on in the world today. This is not a political show, never meant it to be a political show, but if you know, you know. Um, Situations like this, times like this is where, you just put your faith in God and whatever happens, happens according to his will. So that wraps it up for me. I'm your host, Mike. Mike, be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on the YouTube channel, Mike 901. Peace and blessings to you, and good night.